We welcome you to another edition of Being Well Informed. My name is Claudia Barber, and I am your host on this wonderful day. And I am delighted to have as part of my uh, guest today segment Jackie Coleman, who is the leader of Maryland Hall for Creative Arts. Welcome, Miss
Thank you.
Coleman.
Thank you. I'm so thrilled to be here.
Yes, we are here to share more about the Maryland Hall for Creative Arts. How long has that been in existence?
Well, Maryland Hall was started in January of 1980. The building itself had been on the high school, and in December of 1979, for the holiday break, when the students went home, when they started back in January, they went to a new high school. And at that point, there was a group of people, the founders, that worked on transforming Maryland Hall from a high school into an art center, which is what it is today.
It is now an art center, and tell us about yourself and what you do.
Okay, great. Well, I am the executive director here at Maryland Hall. My first day was March 30th. So I'm still a newbie, about 7 months in. It's been fantastic, and I'm thrilled to be here. I relocated with my husband and my dog from Connecticut for this position when I saw uh, what Maryland Hall does, the depth and breadth of arts activities, classes, performances, you name it. I felt so called to be here. My background actually lines up really nicely with this journey. I was a director of education at a Tony Award winning theater in Connecticut. Then I worked for Hartford Public Schools as their arts person for the whole district. And then I worked at the State Department of Ed, learning about working for a government agency. And then most recently, I came from the Community Foundation, the Hartford Foundation for Public Giving, where I was over a portfolio of arts grant making. So all of those things kind of lined me up. And in between that, I've been a teaching artist. And prior to all of that, I was a professional actor.
Wow, that's quite a resume. That's quite a lot of fun-filled to me background for this type of position. But you seem ideal as the executive director. So, what makes Maryland Hall historic?
Well, the building itself was built in 1932. The cornerstone is right outside our building. You can actually see the 1932 on there when it was put up. And then, like I mentioned before, in 1979, the building was emptied of students because a new high school was built, and it became then an art center. I think it also carries some other interesting sort of, I will say, maybe some trauma history that some people in the community have shared with me, because when it first opened, Maryland Hall was an all white high school, and there was another all black high school. And of course, at some point, during the civil rights era, it became integrated. And I have even heard stories that there was challenges with that, as there was everywhere in the country. So then the building is emptied, and then it becomes an arts center. And I think the first resident companies that were here, all which are still here, the opera, the ballet, the symphony and the chorale, they brought in traditional European arts, which is awesome and amazing, but maybe not as fully reflective of the whole community. So I think in recent years, before I got here, and definitely now as I've been talking with staff and community since I've been here, in our mission, we clearly talk about art for all. So there's been this whole history, and now this awareness of wanting to have art for all types of art forms, all genres of art forms, art that speaks to and connects to all different communities. So we're really looking at what we're doing and working towards opening up other opportunities so that everybody can find their little niche of art in Maryland Hall.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now, there was a back in in the segregation days, yes, there is history where Black students went to Wiley Bates, and then the other students had other alternative schooling for other than Wiley Bates, but it was widely known at that time. So now the exact location of your Maryland of the Maryland Hall for Creative Arts is where?
It's 801 Chase Street in Annapolis,
In
and
Annapolis.
we are right in front of the current Bates Middle School. That they're our partner school. They're an arts magnet middle school.
Arts Magnet Middle School. All right.
Mhm.
So on Sunday, October the 2nd, Maryland Hall for the Creative Arts became the choice of venue for the Fannie Lou Hamer Awards. Tell us about that event.
Oh, it was spectacular. It was spectacular. Annually, 25 local women are honored for their civil and human rights leadership through the Fannie Lou Hamer Awards. And we were, like you said, the selected site this year for the event. It was phenomenal. There were words from about pretty much all of the nominees that received awards that night. There was celebration, and the whole evening concluded with a one-woman show. This tour de force had come in and embodied Fannie Lou Hamer and her story and told her story through words and music. And then the whole event it could have gotten any better, but it did with the awesome reception that was afterwards. And of course, the celebration of breaking bread together. So it was an honor to have the event here. And that night, I will say thank you to the Martin Luther King Jr. Caucus. They actually made a generous donation. We were donating the space for the event,
Mhm.
and they ended up donating $1,000 back for the work of Maryland Hall, which we are so appreciative.
I was at the event and I was just thrilled at the awards the event from elected officials to the honorees to the one person show, all of that packed up into one evening. And it was engaging, it was riveting. The one person show, the actress was outstanding, and this is the caliber of things that are at the Maryland Hall for Creative Arts. Then at the end of the program, you surprised us all. I kind of got the impression that I was on the Oprah Winfrey Show. The audience was gifted with an award. You came up with that idea?
I did actually the day before.
Okay.
I was hiking in the woods somewhere, and I thought, oh, this is what I can do to say thank you for coming to this event, for thank you for coming to Maryland Hall, and encourage everyone to come back.
It
So,
does. It encourages you to come back.
good,
Because,
good.
I mean, I'm thinking Maryland Hall again. I'm thinking, I can't, just come here for this event and then go back, home, but it became a memorable event. It really, really did. So what exactly was the gift that each and every attendee received?
Everybody was offered a free 1 year membership to Maryland Hall, which is a $50 value per household. And that membership gets you into our e-newsletter. So you're hearing about things right off the jump, when things are starting to happen. It also gets you discounts
Mm.
on all of the classes that we offer here, and then discounts on many of the shows that come into the hall. So it's an awesome, incentive to say, hey, I've got a membership, I can get, a discount, and I'm going to go back and check this out.
I have
So
privileges. That's what that
yeah,
means. I have privileges. So the you mentioned classes and
Mhm.
you mentioned other events. Tell us about the classes. Let's start there.
Okay, great. So we have all kinds of exciting arts classes. In our visual arts area, we have two-dimensional and three-dimensional classes. So we have the two-dimensional drawing, painting, all that sort of that genre, found creating things. And then in 3D, we have a pottery studio. So you can come and learn ceramics. We also have a wood turning shop. So if you're interested in that, you can come and find out more about that. And then also a glass etching studio, which is really beautiful and again, working with your hands. And then coming up very soon, we're launching a couple of jewelry classes, some metal making classes, which I think will be really exciting. And we have classes that run, over the course of several weeks. And we also have one day, like a workshop class. Like I can just make a commitment for one day or one afternoon or one evening. So that's the visual arts world. And in the dance world, we have dance classes for youth and for adults. And those are offered through some of our teaching artists, but then also through some of the companies that are Ballet Theater Maryland is one of our resident companies, and they offer dance classes here, as do several other smaller local companies that don't maybe perform as much, but do a lot more education. And then in music, we have different folks that are offering music, different one-on-one classes. There's also the guitar ensemble that for youth that meets after school. And Compass Rose, a local theater company, has just started partnering with us and is renting a space now on our third floor and turning it into a small little theater. And they will be offering some theater classes. So now we are having classes across the four major genres of the arts. And we are planning in the next, I don't know, 6 months, 8 months, to outfit a new media arts division where we'll be able to offer digital art. So we got it all. We're very excited and very blessed.
That's wonderful. Now, how do fit it, can they fit into these classes? Or is it a crossover from the Magnet Arts School? Do you offer internships, externships? How does that work?
We do offer internships, and we actually have it listed with the Anne Arundel County Public School internship office. We have both administrative and sort of more production level internships available. And we, like I said, we partner with Bates Middle. They come over here a lot. They take advantage of our gallery spaces. We have several art galleries here on the second and third floor. And actually, right now, we are actually utilizing our hallways on the first floor with some additional artwork for this show. They also come over here when they're like the end of the semester. The Bates Middle School students have the opportunity to use our space to do their end of semester performances in, which I think elevates it for them. I've heard from parents just what a great experience it is for them to culminate, on a large stage like that. And then with the school district writ large, that we just launched for the very first time, like I think like a month ago, a student ticket package. And right now we're piloting it with all of the students who are arts majors, the middle and high school students. But our plan is for it to eventually be offered to all of the Anne Arundel County public school students. And it's a ticket package where the student ticket is free and the family member ticket is $26, which is, these are shows that the ticket might start at 50 in some cases or more. So it's a significantly reduced price. And they can do two shows a year or up to four. So we partnered with the district on that, and I think that's making things more accessible. We also have an after school program. We have Jovenes Artistas and Hood to Good that both run and as part of our outreach after school. If you know a young person who's looking for something and it doesn't cost anything, those are free and open to any young person that wants to come in and join. So
Wow.
Mondays through Thursdays from 3:30 to 6:30. And
Wow.
Ken Starks is our community outreach coordinator, and you can knock on his door and he'll hook up whoever is interested.
That is so community oriented to have an after school program that's free, 3:30 to 5 or so,
30.
and students can participate
Mhm.
in this program. Now, the theater aspect, that sounds like that's growing into something big where we would see more theater in Annapolis or what?
Well, I think there's quite a bit of theater in Annapolis. Having a theater background, I've kind of gotten out and had the opportunity to check
Okay.
out some of the theaters. So I really enjoyed seeing the recent Shakespeare piece at Classic Theater of Maryland,
Mhm.
and also checking out a cabaret over there. And I know Compass Rose was really just like during COVID, kind of didn't have a place to land. They were looking to do something, but needed a space. And then I know there's the Colonial Players, and I'm not going to remember them all, but I know there's several other community theaters actually in Annapolis that have a robust following, and people really enjoy going to see what they're doing. I think it's I think we want to have some aspect of theater in Maryland Hall since we had classes in all the other areas. I think in terms of a traditional rehearsal process in our spaces, it's a little more challenging because we have so many different, we have four resident companies, you know, and then and that already automatically fills a fair amount of the calendar. And then we have Rams Head Productions, and then we have sort of one-off events like Fannie Lou Hammer that come in. So there isn't a lot of, you know, actual space on the stage to, you know, have a whole other like resident company that's going to do their rehearsal process and everything here on site. So I think Compass Rose is this interesting, you know, exploration for all of us to see, like they set up 50 seats in this one pretty large room and sort of turn it into a little bit of a grassroots theater. Where's it going to go from there? You know, so that's sort of the direction that we're headed. And we do have Live Arts Maryland, which is one of our resident companies that has the chorale, the Annapolis chorale that works with them. And then they often will do, you know, like Broadway shows. Like recently they did Guys and Dolls, which I participated in. It was super fun. And, you know, and that does give you the feeling of theater because it is staged in front of the chorale that's singing behind.
Now, 2022
Mhm.
and 2023, we're coming around the corner to 2023.
Yes.
What's next planned for Maryland Hall?
Oh, well, we still have a couple of really great things in 22, and then we have
Okay.
some exciting things in 23. In 22, on November, I want to make sure I give you the right date, November 16th, at 7 p.m. in our Bowen Theater, which is the smaller theater, kind of like the Black Box where a lot of the films are shown.
Hmm.
We're launching a healing conversation series. So it's Maryland Hall presents Healing Conversations, and the first one is unlocking the transformative tools of art therapy. So we are having a clinician, educator, researcher come and have a conversation with a moderator, and then be able to have a Q&A with the audience so that the audience can understand what is this world of art therapy and is it something that I'm interested in. And then we'll have two more healing conversations. One is going to be on March 7th at 7 p.m., which is 23, so we're moving forward. And that is discover your ultimate flow state with expressive writing. So now we're also trying to pull in the, you know, the writing component, which I haven't mentioned a lot about, but creative writing is a wonderful tool,
Yes.
in art form and a wonderful tool for healing. And then in late May, we have explore and protect the LGBTQIA plus identity through art, which I think is going to be a really terrific panel. So you could look out for those healing conversations. In terms of stuff happening in the main hall, we have on November 19th, it's called Fool of Illusions, and you can get tickets on the website. And it's Reggie Rice, and he is a comedian, a magician. So he's an illusionist that uses comedy, and I've seen some clips of his work, and it just looks so fun and very family friendly. So if you're looking for something fun to do, that's on tap. And then on December 23rd at 7 o'clock in the main hall, we are bringing in a Green Christmas at Maryland Hall, which is Chelsea Green. She's going to be doing a beautiful Christmas concert, 7 o'clock. It should be so lovely, and the perfect time of year for that. And then if you are a Step Africa fan, on January 28th, we have Step Africa coming, which we're very excited about. And there's going to be a couple of spots available in both a youth and an adult masterclass with them before the show. So that should be really fun. Yeah. And then I have to mention Freedom Way is coming, which is the beautiful art installation that Phyllis T. Adams helped us set up for the Juneteenth celebration, really commemorating and exploring and understanding the history of Juneteenth and its impact on our country. So we're bringing that here, and we'll have that. I think it's January or February. I'm so sorry I don't have those dates, but I can get them back to you. But we're going to have it on display in our hallways downstairs, and there's even going to be an opportunity to hear some walkthrough of what each of the panels means and some what of the history is, kind of bringing it to life a little bit. So those are just some of the things. We have gallery exhibitions happening. So check out our website and feel free if you just, we have a guest services center that's open on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 9 to 5 here in the building. So if you just want to come in and have a conversation about, what can I do? What would I like? We have a wonderful young woman, Riley, in there, and she will happily walk you through all the different opportunities and offerings.
Can you give us verbally the website?
Sure. It's www.marylandhall, MarylandHall.org.
Great, great. Now, you mentioned creative writing classes as part of the therapy. Now, are those classes free, open to the public, or how does that work?
Those classes have not been. Those are going to happen probably in conjunction with that healing conversation in March, and we haven't scheduled them yet. I anticipate there will be like a tuition for those classes, but we do also always try to have scholarships available for all of our classes. So please don't let the cost of the class deter you from finding out, is there some scholarship left for this particular class, because we do want to make art for all here.
Now,
uh,
after Maryland House Speaker Mike Bush's death, was Maryland Hall renamed after him?
Well, I just moved here on March 30th. So I have only my understanding of our wonderful sign. We have two amazing signs out front of our building that say the Michael E. Bush Center for the Arts. And so I asked a lot of questions. I said, wow, this is exciting. I know he was instrumental in bringing $11 million to help the Capitol campaign and other important components of Maryland Hall. So is that a renaming? Was it intended to be a renaming? And sort of what my understanding and takeaway is that Maryland Hall is still Maryland Hall. The building, the nonprofit, is still named Maryland Hall for the Creative Arts. We still call it the main hall. What that tribute, which I think was so beautiful to Mike Bush, I believe was about, my understanding, was that it was about the center, all of the arts, all of the programming that brings the building of Maryland Hall to life. Mm-hmm. So it's like the Michael E. Bush Center for the Arts. So you just think of, the robust programming, the depth and breadth of everything that happens here. That is what that honor and that name was about. And I understand he was also a huge education proponent.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So I feel like that was also part of it. Like, we want to honor the fact that this is an arts center with education and performances and everything.
Yes, he was a very popular and well-loved House Speaker for the state of Maryland, and for many, many years. And he passed away just less than, wasn't even a decade ago. So it's an honor to see his name right in front of the entrance of the Maryland Hall for Creative Arts. Are there guided tours or self-guided tours of the Maryland Hall? If someone came as though it was a museum and walked in, are they able to take tours of the facility?
Well, the building itself is open every day. During the week, it's open from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Saturday, I think it's 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Sundays we're typically closed unless we're having a specific event or class. And you can come in anytime and self-guide yourself through. We have, two main galleries on the second floor, the Cheney and the Martino galleries. Right now, the Latinx Perspectives is in there. It's gorgeous. It has a beautiful Day of the Dead altar that I recommend if you want to come on Saturday. There's the big Day of the Dead festival, and it will be up in here. And then we have the Martino Gallery up on the third floor. And so you can always walk through the building anytime. We have a gorgeous community room. And you can always peek in and look at the different dance studios and other art spaces that we have. In terms of guided tours, we have like one of the most amazing cohorts of volunteers, and we have an amazing volunteer manager, Riley Kelbaugh, who has developed what he calls the ambassador tour. And
Mm,
a number of the volunteers have been trained in giving the ambassador tour. And at different events, sometimes we have usually a membership appreciation event, and there's other, during the year, different types of events. At those, we will set up guided tours, which can last an hour to an hour and a half because there's a lot of history and stories that go along with the different components of the building.
well, actually, when I visited, one of the last guided tours I had was at the International Civil Rights Museum in Greensboro, and that particular um, situation was I preferred actually the guided tours over the self-guided tours because the individuals were very um, informative. It was just so informative as you walked through it, so you knew where you were going and you knew exactly what was transpiring as you move through various phases of the project. So um, I guess I have a strong preference for guided tours versus self-guided tours. But thank you so much, um, Jackie Coleman, for your participation on our talk show today. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you.